And good evening, everyone. Welcome to another exciting Saturday night wine stream and another exciting episode of Drink with Rick. I'm Rick, and tonight this is going to be this is a special night here because it is Wine and Cheese Day, National Wine and Cheese Day. I didn't want to do a spoiler here, but kind of couldn't help it because we're going to be doing some wine and cheese for our tasting tonight. So I hope you'll join me for that. I think this will be a fun show. Anyway, if you're joining me for the first time or if you're joining me for the 69th time, because this is the 69th episode of Drink with Rick, you can, of course, join us on Facebook. And Facebook is Drink with Rick on the Facebook page, Drink with Rick. You can join me on YouTube. YouTube is Drink with Rick. You can also join me on, let's see, where else? So Twitch. I don't want to forget Twitch. I can't forget Twitch. I spent quite a bit of time on it last night doing some pre-show prep in that regard. So we are live on Twitch, and I'll be checking the chats there as well. Also, we're live on Twitter, courtesy of Periscope, so you can tweet me there, and I'll be checking on that from time to time as well. Also, you can check out our website, drinkwithrick.com. We are going live on our website at drinkwithrick.com under the Saturday Night Wine Stream. Now, if you're watching on Drink with Rick on the website, you can't chat with me directly there because we don't actually have a chat set up, but you can click on the post for that live video and you can comment in the comments below and I will respond in kind. Of course, if you can't watch now and you can watch it later, on all those platforms, it's available to watch later after the fact. We archive them on YouTube, and I think Twitch has it for 60 days, and Facebook has it pretty much indefinitely. Now, you can also listen to the podcast. The podcast goes up at 10 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday night. Monday nights at 10 p.m. So if you want to listen to it, not really don't want your full attention on the video, and you just want to listen to it passively or while you're doing other things, you can certainly catch it at drinkwithrick.com. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, your Android device, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, Deezer, also by email. Just put in your email, and every time a new episode drops, you will get an email notification via email at our website at drinkwithrick.com. So, having gotten all that across, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the wine. And before we do that, let me check the chats. Kind of quiet. It's usually quiet in the chat starting off, and then it picks up as we go along. And Laudic says, hello, Rick. This is on Twitch now. And Laudic, good to see you. Hello. And I'm glad to see you here. Please stick around and tell me what you're drinking or what you're not drinking or what you like to be drinking or what you like to see me drinking. And if I can afford to get a bottle of it, then I might just try drinking it too. Polo TV says, hi, Rick, back from the last time. How are you today? And I'm doing just fine, Polo TV. This is a great night. And, this is National Wine and Cheese Day. So we're going to be pairing this wine with some cheeses. And I've got a little story about that wine here and how I came to choose that wine. Actually, it was a recommendation. It was a recommendation. We'll get to that in just a moment. Captain Suiset says, hey, and right back at you. Hey, how you doing? And glad you're here. And stick around and tell me what you're up to. Let's see. Let me go ahead and introduce the wine. What we have here tonight is a Boulee-Cordot. This is a 2019. It's an Alicante-Syrah. Alicante-Syrah. And I'm terrible with my French. This is a French wine. I'm terrible with my French, even though I took a year of it in high school. And some of my clients, when I worked in IT, were French, and they came to me to work on their French language computers because I could understand the language a little bit. I just can't speak it worth a darn. But anyway, this is the wine that we're drinking tonight. It's a 2019. It's a product of France. It's a Pays d'Oc of France. This is 2019 seems like a kind of a young wine for me, but we're going to try it out. It came highly recommended. As a matter of fact, what I did was I called my friends at Winestore and I said, I need a really good wine for wine and cheese for the Wine and Cheese Day to taste with all these cheeses I have. And they say, you know what, we have a perfect wine for you. It just came in. This wine just arrived, and they said it'll go great. It's perfect for cheeses. And then they told me the wine. I said, I've never heard of it. It's any good? He says, yeah, it's going to be great with cheeses. So, and I trust their judgment on it. The good folks at Winestore that I frequent, they are very good at their wine recommendations. They're very nice and very knowledgeable. So trusting their judgment, I went ahead and ordered a bottle and picked it up. And this is what we're going to try tonight. So here is the back of the bottle. And I'm going to read this. It's a Boulee-Cordot. It's 70% Alicante and 30% Syrah. I thought it was only like a 10% Syrah, but it's actually 30%, which is interesting. So this is a blend. This is not a pure Alicante. It is a blend of Alicante and Syrah. But I'm going to read this here. It says, incredible deep red color combined to amazing bouquet of red fruits and spicy hints of violet best describe this full-flavored wine. Serve lightly chilled on any barbecue, Italian food, and cheeses. Uh-oh, I did not chill this wine. I did not chill it beforehand. Serve lightly chilled. Well, we're going to try it not chilled, and we'll see what happens. It is 12.5% alcohol by volume in the 750 milliliter bottle of red wine, and it is a 2019, and this is from France. So looking forward to trying out this wine. I'm a little bit surprised because it's a 12% alcohol by volume, and as we all know, that isn't necessarily a hard number, at least here in the U.S., that basically they'll have a tendency to be considerably higher than what they put on the label. So who knows? We'll see. But 12.5% is, as I understand, is a little bit on the low end for these Alicante wines, because an Alicante wine tends to be tends to have a fairly high alcohol content in general. But we'll learn a little bit more about that, because tonight, what else we're going to do tonight, of course, we're going to learn about the Alicante Grape. I have never done an Alicante wine here on the stream live, so I thought, it's been a few weeks since we've actually done a little bit of a history on the grape of the wine that we're tasting. We've done a number of grapes, like the Sanson grape, and we've done the Cabernet, and we've done a number of others. But we've never done an Alicante. And I thought, well, this would be a good opportunity to learn a little bit more about the grape. So we're going to do that tonight. I've got some notes here on that. We'll learn about the grape. We're also, of course, I have some birthdays to celebrate. Some birthdays, and we'll get to that in a little bit as well to toast. That'll be a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and get to that. Now, before we do it, let me get back to the chat for just a minute. Let me see who's joined us. Anybody joined us on Facebook? Courtney's in the chat. Courtney, it's great to see you. It's been a while. How you doing? She says, hey, Rick, long time no see. Yes, Courtney, long time no see. It's been too long, as a matter of fact. I hope you're doing well. I hope everyone's doing well. And Courtney says, have you lost weight? She not feeding you? If anything, she would say I've gained weight. And I'm kind of trying to fight this, although I haven't really been exercising as I should. But it's kind of coming and going. But thank you, Courtney. Are you buttering me up for something? I do appreciate that. That's a nice compliment. Thank you very much, Courtney. To be honest, I don't know. It kind of comes and goes a little bit. A couple of pounds here, a couple of pounds gained back there. Hopefully I will be losing it. You know what? Maybe it was the Fitvine wine. Now, I bought a couple of Fitvine wines from Winestore some weeks back, and we reviewed those. Maybe the Fitvine wine is actually working. I don't know about that. But anyway, thank you, Courtney. I really appreciate that. You're way too kind. And we've got some birthdays coming up, and I think you'll appreciate some of those that celebration as well. Ed is in the chat, and Ed's, how you doing, Ed? Ed says hi. He said, how are you doing? I said, I was trying to mix hi and how are you. Didn't come out right. But Ed's great to see you too, and stick around. We're going to have some fun. Let's see, who else is in the chat? We've got folks in Twitch. Loudick says, is it your Saturday sweatshirt, Rick? Yeah, pretty much. I don't work out in this shirt. This is just for the wine stream. I try to take good care of this. But, the thing is about this sweater is that I really, really fell in love with the sweater. And after we used it on the first few episodes of the wine stream, everybody was saying, I really like that sweater. It's really cool. And and I went back to the store to see if I could find some more of these, and lo and behold, they had discontinued the shirt. So maybe it's out of, I don't know, is it out of fashion now? I don't know, but I really like the shirt, the sweater. I mean, the sweater. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we have for this wine. I'm going to go ahead and open it up, and we'll taste it, and we'll pair it with cheese. Oh, I almost forgot to show you the cheese. Tonight we have, to pair it with, we have a number of cheeses here, a nice selection of cheeses. I have here let's see, I've got a list here because I forgot what they all were. Oh yes, I have a triple cream brie, and I have, of course, the Trader Joe's double cream Gouda, which I could not do a wine and cheese tasting without having some of that handy, because we've been using it a lot in the streams in the past, and it never failed us as far as pairing it with a good wine. So we're going to try it tonight. It should be fine. I have a mozzarella, very soft mozzarella here. I have a Gruyere, and let's see, a smoked cheddar. I have a smoked cheddar here, which is that's right here, and a few crackers to go with that. So we're going to try it with 5 different cheeses and see how that works. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and open this wine. And to make it easy for me tonight, they went ahead and they didn't do it for me, of course. It's a screw cap. I have my trusty Veneto, and it's got a little water on it because I rinsed it out a little bit earlier. My Veneto aerator from the Veneto Wine Lovers set. And of course, we're going to pour it into my Galway genuine crystal glass. It's Irish crystal, genuine Irish crystal glass, imported from Ireland and given to me by my employers over at bytwowayradios.com. Really, really great people. So we're going to go ahead and pour it into the glass, pour a little bit of it in there. And I've got the close-up on it? Yes, I do. All right. And we'll just give it a little bit of a pour, not too much. And we'll let it breathe for a little bit. And while it's breathing, let's learn a little bit more about this wine. Now, to be honest, there is not, I did considerable searching online for information on this wine, and there isn't a whole lot out there. Wine.com, winesearcher.com, vivino.com, nobody really had any information on this wine. And there's some general information on the grapes and things like that, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But the only place that seemed to have any information on the wine at all is Winestore, winestore-online.com. Apparently, from what I understand, they kind of got an exclusive deal on this and at a special price. I really have no idea what this wine costs across the internet because I have nothing else to compare it to. But I'll tell you what I paid for the wine because I have the receipt right here. And the receipt says the Boulee-Cordot is $9.99, $9.99. That's what I paid for the 750 milliliter bottle of wine. And we'll see how it is. And once again, I think 2019, that's a little bit young for some of the wines I've been drinking, but we'll give it a fair shot, and we'll give it a fair shake. Anyway, according to the website, now you can go to winestore-online.com. You can look it up. It is there. I do have it, but not a whole lot of information. There's not even an image of the wine there. Maybe I can send them an image of my empty bottle, if I do indeed empty it tonight. But it does say that it is one of the Alicante is one of the rare Tenterior grapes, having red juice as well as red skins, and in the right spots can be powerful and juicy. I'm just reading this from their website right now, not just inky. And the blend with that and the Syrah, it does mention the blend. And that's really all there is on on it, except that it does say it pairs well with cheese. So we'll see how that works out. Anyway, on the nose, because I'm getting a little bit of the aroma here. On the nose, it's a bit of a mix. It's not a very complex smelling wine. It's very simple. I can smell some simple red fruits in here and black fruits. I think what I'm getting here is cherry on the nose, cherry, and that's mostly what I'm getting. Maybe a little bit of maybe a little peppery, and it doesn't smell oaky or anything like that. It doesn't have any of that. It is a full-bodied wine. And you can't really tell from the lights too much because the lights make everything look full-bodied. But looking at it from here, it is a very, very dark and full-bodied wine. I expected that. I did expect that, and that's basically the Alicante that is doing that for the most part. And we'll go into that in just a little bit. So let's give it a little taste. I could smell a little plum there too as I was putting it down. Okay. Actually, it is a fairly decent mix of black cherry and some blackberry and a little bit of black pepper, as a matter of fact. It is very fruity. It is a very fruity wine. It's a little on the jammy side, I think. Let me have a little bit more, but I think it's a little bit on the jammy side. Nothing wrong with jammy. Nothing wrong with jammy. Let me give it another taste here. Same elements. It has quite a few tannins in it. It's not real tannic, but it's pretty close. It's a lot more tannic than some of the wines we've been tasting the last few weeks. So there are a lot of tannins in it. It's kind of got a medium acidity to this wine, little on the medium side, but it's a little heavy on the tannins. That's okay, and that works out well for some foods that you'd want to pair it with. Maybe barbecue. Yeah, as it said on the label, barbecue. I think this actually a wine with a lot of tannins like that would probably go pretty well with a barbecue. Let's give it another taste here. Maybe excuse me, it's peppery. A little water here. It is a little peppery, but it's also rather jammy. It is, and that's not a bad thing. But it means it's loaded with fruit. It really is, and it does taste. I want to say it does taste a little on the young side. I think if you buy a bottle of this and you keep it. Don't open it for another, 4 or 5 months. It might just be perfect. But it's not a bad wine. It's not a bad wine. But once again, if you're not into wines with a lot of tannins, if you don't like heavier wines, this is a little on the heavier side, I think. Not bad, but it's a little bit. Yeah, it's not a bad wine. I think what we do here is to get down into the bottle a little bit and give it a fair shake. Because as I've said so many times, I'm not one of those, I'm not a sommelier, first of all. I'm just an everyman who likes wine, just like 99% of all of us. But I'm not one of those type of people that will a wine taster that will take a sip of the wine and then spit it out in a bucket. That's not my thing. To be honest, I don't think that's really fair to the wine. The wines were not made to be spat out. They weren't made to just taste and spat out. The wines were made to drink. And that's my belief. And I think that you don't really get a fair assessment of what the wine is really like until you get a little bit down into the bottle. That's just my take on it. I've done the sip thing and spit, and I didn't really get much out of that. But then again, I'm not an expert, right? I'm just a guy who likes to drink wine. So there you go. Let me get back to the chat here for just a moment. Let's see. Laudick says, "Do you drink during the week too?" Yeah, I do sometimes. It depends. There have been some weeks when I didn't drink anything. There have been other weeks where I drink, but usually it's something that I'll have with dinner. If I'm going to open a bottle of wine, I'll open it with dinner, and it kind of depends on what I have for dinner. There's some nights where I'll have a dinner and I don't drink any wine with it at all. That's just. I like to have a good wine, a nice wine with a nice dinner. And if I'm eating peanut butter and jelly or weenies and beans or something, it's not typically something I'm going to open a bottle of wine for. Polo TV, do you have any training or nose experience? And he wants to know, do you cook yourself? I think there's a comment there, right? Do you cook yourself? Okay. A little bit. My wife does most of the cooking, and I'm glad of that. I think we're both glad of that because every time I get in the kitchen and cook, she always complains about the mess, and it never turns out as good as her cooking. And she is just a fabulous cook. But she's just an amazing cook, and the whole family is happy that she can do that. That's a talent that she has. And we encourage that a lot. We gave her a cookbook so she could write down one of those cookbook notebook kind of things so she could write down all of her recipes in. But she keeps a lot of them in her head, and we really, hopefully, she'll have them all in a cookbook soon. She's just very, very busy. She doesn't really have a whole lot of time to do a lot of that stuff because she works full-time too. But one of these days, she's starting to write down some of her recipes, and which helps. And she's been teaching some of them to our son Tommy. But I'll tell you, she is the master chef in the house. And when I say master chef, I mean she is tops. She is first rate with being able to cook and come up with all kinds of dishes. Anyway. Let's see what we have going on Facebook here. My wife Cheese in the chat, and her ears are probably burning. Pete's in the chat. Good to see you, Pete. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for stopping in. Pete says, any Amish butter cheese? Feel like we should send you a 5-pound block overnight express. Well, Pete, I do appreciate that, but we have plenty of cheese here, and I don't know if it'll get here in time for this bottle of wine anyway. Pete says, oh, I missed that. Amish butter cheese, yummy. And yes, I do. I think this probably would go well with some Amish butter cheese. I haven't tried it with these yet, but yeah, I missed the Amish butter cheese. And we used to pick that up over at the store up in Pennsylvania in Amish country. And that was at the Shady Maple restaurant. I love that place. Ed says, how would chilling change the experience? Well, that's... That is a long topic. We'll have to go into that one of these days soon, but I'm actually kind of running behind on all this other stuff I'm doing. But Ed, that's a good question, very good question. We'll have to talk about that some more in a little bit, maybe if we get some time later after I get through all of the cheeses and everything. We can talk about that a little bit because that is a very good question. And to be honest, not all wines need to be chilled. There is a misnomer that a lot of people think that, oh, you have to chill every bottle of wine. But no, some wines you don't want to chill. But there are some wines that you do, and for different reasons. But we can get into that in a little bit. Let's see, I'm missing some more here. There we go. Pete says, the farmer down the road is making and selling his own 5-pound block. Scored a nice 2-pound piece of a local sharp cheddar, too. Got that from one of the Amish I drive for. We'll pick some up and UPS it to you if you want. With all these cows around here, and I think there's more to that. All these cows around here, they're making a bunch of local cheeses. I believe it. Joanne says, can't wait. And Joanne's in the chat. It's great to see you, Joanne. We've got a toast for you too coming up. But Joanne, it's good to see you. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you and the family are doing just fine. And let's see. Get back to let's see. Okay. Well, I think we're caught up for right now. Let's go ahead and try tasting it with the cheeses. And I think the first cheese we'll try it with is, in fact, I think I'll try it on a crack. Well, I could try it on a cracker. Is this brie? I've been wanting to try this brie for quite a while, and I don't think it's going to stay cold long here out under the lights and everything. But this is a triple cream brie cheese, and I think she got this from Trader Joe's. We'll give it a shot here. And brie is a very interesting type of cheese. Some people love it. Some people don't like it at all, but some people love it. Let's see how it pairs with this. That was very interesting. I kind of like that. I think I'd try that again with the brie. I think maybe I'm falling in love with brie. I haven't really not had brie much, and but I think this is very, very. Yeah, this might be a really good wine and cheese wine after all. Try it again. Wow, it really, the flavor just kind of, when I take the cheese and then I have the wine, the flavors just really explode with this. Very nice touch, though. A very nice balance with the cheese and the wine. Very nice. I like that. We'll try that. Let me clear the palate just a little bit, and we'll try it with a different cheese. Well, I didn't expect that from the brie, to be honest. So I wasn't sure what to expect, and especially with this wine, I think I better fill the bottle up a little bit more. My wife's saying scroll up more messages on top. I think I saw that. I think I did. Anyway. All right, let's try it with the, what am I having here now? This looks like the mozzarella. We'll try it with the mozzarella, the soft mozzarella. If it works with brie, because the brie is a soft cheese, spreadable one. This mozzarella is not quite spreadable, but it's very soft. Let's see how it works with that. I'm not sure. Soft mozzarella, I don't know. Okay, kind of went down, and then didn't really get much of a taste from that, to be honest. You know, it's okay, but I mean, it didn't react badly or anything. But it didn't really hit me. Not like the brie did. This mozzarella, soft mozzarella, is a much milder cheese anyway, so I couldn't say I was expecting much from that either. But it's a much milder cheese. Sorry, cheese. Let me take a break from this for just a moment, and let's get back to the chat for a minute. Paulo TV says, "Don't you have a need during your stream for a bathroom break?" Yeah, well, I do the best I can to leverage that. I kind of try to take care of that beforehand, and then I try to hold on to that until afterwards, and it usually works out pretty good. I don't sit there and just chug down the bottle, for one thing. So I try to pace myself on all this, and that's the important thing. Moderation in all things. Polo TV says, "I couldn't handle a full bottle on my side." I can't say that I'm going to drink a full bottle of this either. It has happened. It has happened before on a few occasions, more than a few occasions. But in the very first one, as a matter of fact, the very first wine stream, I did do the whole bottle. But this I'm trying to pace myself a little bit on. I don't want to overdo it. Anyway, let's go ahead and try it with another cheese. What do we have here now? Now at this point, I'm getting a little mixed up on which cheese is which, because I think one of them is we tried the brie was easy to tell apart, and the mozzarella, the smoked cheddar. We'll do that one next year. The smoked cheddar is kind of another one that's kind of easy to differentiate here. This is a smoked cheddar, and I'm not sure. I think this is a medium cheddar. I don't think this is a very yeah, I think it's a medium cheddar. I don't think it's very sharp. No, it's not a very sharp cheddar. It's about a medium. And we'll try that. I like that. I like that. Made it a little on the cream. Made it a little bit creamier. Brought out the smoky flavor. Now, she actually put this cheese, I won't say cheese board, but cheese platter together for me for the show. And she was actually going to put on a very, very sharp cheddar cheese. And I said, well, yeah, but don't we have this, well, I said, I don't know, this might be too sharp for this. And she said, well, how about the smoked cheddar? Thinking about what was on the back of this, where they were talking about barbecue, I thought, let's give that a shot. Let's give it a try. Smoked cheddar, it sounds like it might work. In fact, I think this might go well with a smoky sausage or something, like one of the beef summer sausages. It might actually go pretty well with that. But let's try. Oh, I want to try this. Let me try that again. Sorry folks, I've got to try this one more time. Not bad. I like the cheddar anyway, but I do like that. Now this smoked cheddar is a Trader Joe's also. Is a Trader Joe's smoked cheddar. In fact, I think most of these cheese, except one, came from Trader Joe's. So that leaves us with the Gruyere and the Gruyere, I think is how they pronounce it in France. And the double cream Gouda. We'll do the double cream Gouda last, but let's try it with the Gruyere. We'll give it a chance. Let me clear my palate out to be fair about it. And we'll here comes a Gruyere. And the cheese is good, by the way. Cheese is very, very good. I like a good Gruyere. I'm not French. Once again, that is not bad. Now, here's the thing about those cheeses. It's kind of a Swiss kind of cheese. A Swissy kind of cheese, I want to say. And the interesting thing about the wine is that when you first taste this Gruyere, it has its own flavor that it's not real much like Swiss cheese, like what you'd expect from Swiss cheese. But when I tasted this and I had the wine, once the wine hit it, it really tasted more like a Swiss cheese, a Swiss. And I think that's very interesting. Once again, the wine, and that's what wines do. They will, because you're having a chemical reaction here. The wines will bring out flavors of some things, and will actually subdue flavors on other things, and actually completely change the flavors on some other things. This one right here, it almost kind of, I don't know, it kind of gave it really brought out the Swiss cheese kind of flavor to it. It was very interesting. I like that. Now, and before we go back and finish off with the creamy Gouda, let's go back to the chat here. Polo TV says, I'm pretty sure this bottle will not survive tonight. It is quite possible. Hopefully that I'll be able to have some self-control on that. But yeah, this wine is actually starting to taste pretty. Like I said, I haven't even gotten down into the bottle. I'm just putting small. I'm just pouring small. Little bits of it in there at a time. Joanne says, my husband used to line up wines and have me taste them with different cheeses. It runs in the family. It does, Joanne. Joanne, are you drinking anything tonight, by the way? Joe, are you drinking? What are you drinking, if anything? If not, is there anything particular that you can recommend? We've been taking some recommendations, and I've been buying bottles. If you have a particular wine that you like that you would recommend that we haven't tried, let me know, and I would be happy to, if I could afford it. If it's one that falls within my budget, and I'd be happy to give it a try. Let's see, what else we have there? Oh, yes, the Trader Joe's Creamy Gouda. Am I putting that off a little bit? Yeah, one more sort of water here. Okay, now comes the Trader Joe's. This is the Trader Joe's Double Cream Gouda, well, what I usually call the Creamy Gouda. And this cheese is a personal favorite of mine, but it's also a personal favorite on the wine stream because every single wine we try, even the couple that have not turned out to be very good wines, there's never been a miss with this cheese. It has always paired well with this cheese. Something about this particular Gouda cheese, it's just been really good. It's just this cheese. I think I just like the cheese. But we'll try it with the wine. So here it goes. And it is nice and creamy. Love this cheese. Oh yeah, definitely a winner. Definitely a winner. Okay, and I have to do that again because that's an experience. That's like an e-ticket at Disney World, you know. If you remember those, and that goes way back to the days when they had the ticket books. Very good. I like this. First class all the way. I really like that. Very good. So it's a winner with each one of those, except the mozzarella. I think the mozzarella was a little flat with that, but I think all the other cheeses did really well. I think it pairs really well with this wine. This is definitely a wine and cheese wine. I really think it is. I think it's definitely a wine and cheese wine. I want to thank the good folks at Winestore. And Matt, if you're watching now or later, I appreciate the recommendation from your staff at Winestore. And I think I would definitely go for a bottle of this at the next wine and cheese tasting party. If we can ever have parties again, I mean, we've all been kind of, stayed at home, haven't really had any parties lately, but if we ever have another one, next time we do, I think I'd like to go for a bottle of this. It'd be very, very nice. I think it would pair very well with these cheeses. We didn't try it with any meats tonight because this is, of course, wine and cheese day. Not wine and cheese and prime rib day. Whenever prime rib day rolls around, then maybe I'll get a bottle of this and we'll try that as well. There is one more thing I have here, and we're going to try this later at the very end of the show. We're going to try this. This is Chi, can you refresh me memories to actually what this is? It's some kind of a raspberry cake of some sort, and this, chocolates, a true test of a good wine is how well it pairs with chocolate, right? I just made that up. I just made it up. But, there are some bad wines that actually taste a little better with chocolate, and there are some bad wines that actually taste worse. But, it's nothing wrong with desserts with wine. Desserts, as a general rule, tend to go pretty well with wine, depending on the type of dessert, but usually something that involves chocolate and some type of fruit in it. That usually does pretty well. So we're going to try it with that later on, see how it goes. Joanne says Sauvignon Blanc. So Joanne's drinking a Sauvignon Blanc, and that's good. Here's to you, Joe. And I like it. We've reviewed, I think. Have we reviewed it? Yeah, I think we reviewed a Sauvignon Blanc here on the show in the past. And it was actually pretty decent. I'm not a white wine drinker per se, but the few white wines we've had, I think most of them have actually been pretty decent wines. I rather enjoyed them. So let's see. We've got that done. Let me check the chat here in Twitch in just a moment. And Laudick says, "Where do you live, Rick? If it's not too intrusive." I'm in North Carolina. We're living in the Charlotte area. And Tom Antio says, "Hi, Dad." That's my son Tommy. Hi, Tom. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're here in the chat, following along. And let's see. Tom is about to go to head off to college. He actually just graduated from CPCC here for his 2-year degree, but he's about to go for his 4-year degree up in Appalachian State. So we're going to miss him when he goes. He's going to be leaving in a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, we'll just try to make the most of our time with him here. And Laudic, we're in the South Charlotte area in North Carolina, near the border. And that's why I mentioned the company that I work for, by Two-Way Radios. They're based in Rock Hill, and that's the commute that I make from Charlotte to Rock Hill and back every day. Or what I did before we wound up sequestered here in our homes. Now we're kind of working from home, and it's actually turning out pretty well for the most part. But and I digress, because, and just to let you know, if you're not familiar with the show, watching the show, this I do have some show notes here. It is not a 100% structured show. I do have some show notes. I do some show prep, but this is a stream of consciousness kind of show. I don't have topics that I hit boom, 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 and we have to move on. This is a stream of consciousness kind of show, and I will go off on tangents sometimes and because I'm interacting in the chat with you, and some of the topics are brought up by you, and you brought them up, and I'll get off on tangents. And I've been known to stretch a show to 2 hours for something like that. But now I don't think my wife would be happy if I did that tonight, but but I have been known to do that, and she can attest to that, as a matter of fact, probably right in the chat. She's probably keeping an eye on me there, making sure I'm not going over. And Joe says, love your show. Well, thank you. I really, really appreciate that, Joanne. And there's more to come. More to come. We're just getting started. What's up, money? Okay, we did the pairing with cheeses. Like I said, I have some show notes that I followed. Okay, let's learn something about the Alicante Grape, because I spent some time putting that together, and I want to go over that. The Alicante Grape is pretty interesting, and this what makes this wine very, very interesting. As I mentioned towards the beginning when I first started pouring it, that this is a very, very deep red. Well, I said it's very, very full-bodied wine, but it's a very deep red complexion, and there are reasons for that, and a lot of it has to do with the grape itself. But I'm getting ahead of myself here a little bit. Let's learn something about the Alicante Grape. And I'm going to pull from a reference. I'm going to pull some things from Wikipedia, because there are some facts I can keep in my head, and there are other facts that's just nice to be able to have to read off it sometimes, especially when you're multitasking during a wine stream, which I'm usually doing. But I'm going to read some of this is going to be read from Wikipedia. Some of it is just me, but just for full disclosure, I am doing some quotes from Wikipedia. But overall, the Alicante Grape, this is a very interesting grape. And one that I really didn't know a whole lot about before I purchased this wine, so I had to do a little bit of research on it. But the Alicante Grape is also known as an Alicante Bouschet, a Grenache Tintorera. It's known by a number of different names, and that's why I need Wikipedia right now, because it has a list of a whole bunch of them here down at the bottom of the list. And you can go look it up at Wikipedia if you want. But it lists, let's see. What's it known as? It's known as those, Alicante Henry Bouschet, Grenache Tintorera, from the species Vitis vinifera. And it's there's a very, very interesting thing about this grape, is that the grape itself, the color of the grape, it's a black skin grape. The skin is almost black. It's very, very deep, and that's why I was hinting at that before. Very black skin. But the interesting thing about this grape is that when you peel the skin back, the meat, the actual fruit of the grape inside, the actual flesh of the grape, is red. Now, usually when you pull back a lot of the skins on a lot of these grapes, you're going to have a light-colored flesh, or a light-colored meat inside the grape. but this one is a deep red, and in some cases it can be an almost violet color. This is how deep some of this can be. Now this becomes important. This is important for in terms of grape for several reasons. One thing is that the color is also used for blending with some other wines. That's why we have a 30% Syrah in this. And a Syrah is also a red wine, but you blend it in, and it makes it look a little bit redder. It gives it a little more body. The deep color makes it useful for blending with the lighter red wines, and that's why it's often blended that way. But it was planted heavily during Prohibition in California and exported to the East Coast. And because, now for one reason is because it was somewhat resistant to rot, the grapes were, and so it could last the trip. The other reason is because it was so intensely red that it could be easily diluted, as they often did during Prohibition. They would dilute the alcohols to kind of stretch it out for various reasons, and you could dilute this one without it losing its color, so to speak. So in other words, people, you could dilute it somewhat, and it would still retain most of its red color. So it became rather popular for that reason. And it was one time, I think, one of the most popularly planted grapes in some areas of the U.S. As well for that reason during Prohibition. But that time passed, and with it, I think the number of acres or hectares, I think that they used for the grapes have diminished somewhat. The Alicante grape is a cross of a Petit Bouschet and a Grenache. And it's, well, as I said before, it's Alicante is a Teinturier, a grape with red flesh. And let's see, what else do I have here? Another, almost lost my place here. It originated, I misspelled that, didn't I? I was doing this real quick. It originated in France around 1866 by Henry Boucher, and that's where the grape got its name, the Alicante Boucher, or the Alicante Henry Boucher. It originated in France during that period of time, and he basically developed this grape, and it is basically a cross. This is a crossbreed of a Petit Bouschet and a Grenache, as I mentioned before. And I believe I did, yes. So, where's my other notes here? Here it is. It was popular in the United States during Prohibition, as I already mentioned that. See, I got ahead of myself, didn't I? Okay, where is the Alicante grape grown primarily today? It's grown in France, where it originated from. It's grown in Portugal, in Chile, Algeria, in Israel, Spain, Italy, and in the United States. And in the United States, the grape is primarily grown in California, and it's grown in basically in the Napa, Sonoma, and Madera counties in California. They don't grow in too many places outside of those areas. In fact, I think it's very, very limited within those areas as well. But it's, I would say in the other regions, let's see. Yeah, I think that's pretty much where it used to be very, very popular around the world, but it's kind of diminished somewhat. But in where is it? In Portugal, I want to say Argentina, Portugal, it's become rather popular, and they use it. They grow that grape and make wines a lot in Portugal with those wines, and I think they do quite a bit of it in Spain. Anyway, that is the Alicante grape. Some interesting tips or tidbits on that, some interesting facts and notes about it. So, hey, you learned something on the wine stream tonight. How about that? Who knew you could learn something on the Saturday night wine stream? And I learned something too because I learned it along with you. Anyway, get back to the chat for a moment. Anything? It got real quiet after I started going to the grapes, didn't it? Let's see. Captain Swiss 1 says he's good to see you, Captain Sweet Swan. I'm glad you're here. And he says, East Coast represent. Oh, so you're on the East Coast as well. That Square Guy's in the chat with us too, and it's great to see you too, that Square Guy. He says, hi, Rick. I missed the first half of the stream. No worries, because you can always catch the first half on the replay. But just in case, for what you did miss, we open up this bottle of fine wine, which I think I can call it a fine wine at this point. And even though I still think it's a little on the young side, I think it's okay. And we paired it with some cheeses. Very good. But you're just in time. You're just in time for the celebrations, because we are going to celebrate the birthdays. And I have some birthdays to celebrate, and I'm glad everyone's here. That Square Guy says, enjoying the wine tonight? Yes, I am. I am, indeed. It's actually turning out to be a good wine. Once again, we're drinking this. We're drinking the Boulee-Cordot, the Boulee-Cordot. I haven't had that much yet. And this is an Alicante-Syrah blend, and I picked it up for $9.99 at winestore-online.com. This, I think this turned out to be a pretty good recommendation. They haven't really steered me wrong yet at Winestore. The folks there know what they're talking about. Anyway, so let's get to the birthdays, because we have quite a few birthdays to celebrate. And I think the first, and let me load up first, right? Let me fill the glass a little bit so we can do some toasting. I want to say, first of all, for the birthdays, I want to say to Margaret, and Margaret, your birthday is, that was Thursday, as a matter of fact. It was Margaret Brooks Snyder. That is the wife of Matt Snyder. Matt is the co-owner and the co-founder of Winestore. And that is for Margaret. Matt's a friend of mine as well. And let's see, I want to say happy birthday to Margaret. Your birthday on Thursday, I believe. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. And also Jonathan Snyder, another relative. Right? Jonathan's part of the family there too. Jonathan Snyder, his birthday is today, Saturday. Wow, so many birthdays so close together. Wow. That calls for a lot of celebration, right? I'm sure the Snyder family is all doing a lot of celebrating this weekend. Anyway, for Jonathan, I did say happy birthday to you on your page, but I want to say, or on your on your feed, but I just want to say again, Jonathan, happy birthday to you. I hope you're having a great one. Happy birthday. And Courtney, yes, happy birthday, Margaret. Again. And I hope Jonathan's birthday is a really good one. Hope he's celebrating, and safely too, but I hope he's doing a lot of good celebration. And then, I have another birthday that I want to toast, and this is for my niece Julia. My niece Julia Stepp, and Julia is, I'm not going to give her age away. She's a lady, right? We're gentlemen, we don't know that. But Julia's birthday is this coming Tuesday, and I know it's middle of the week, and I'm busy working the middle of the week. I'm sure I'll be able to still say happy birthday to her then, but I wanted to get out a happy birthday toast to her right now. This is to my niece Julia. Happy birthday to you. It's my sister Gina's daughter, or middle daughter, and I hope you're doing really, really well, Julia. In fact, I'll toast you again. Uncle Rick's going to toast you again just because I can. Happy birthday. And let's see. I have another birthday for someone else who's in the chat right now. Can you guess who it is? This is to Joe. This is to Joanne. Joanne, my sister-in-law. And she will always be my sister-in-law. She will always be my sister-in-law, no matter what. Joanne, this is for you. Happy birthday. Those fireworks are for you, too. I'm going to say happy birthday to you. I'm going to toast you again, too. Because you're family. And you'll always be family. Here's to you, Joe. Happy birthday. And let me check and make sure that, there we go. And yeah, everybody's saying happy birthday to each other. It's cool. And yes, it is your birthday, Joe. Your birthday is actually, your birthday's Thursday, I think officially, but I'm toasting you now, and I'm probably going to toast you again next week because, hey, it's my show. I can toast whoever I want, right? So here's to you once again. Happy birthday, Joe. Let's see, who else we have here? There is, on a more serious note, I kind of want to, oh, wait, I almost missed one. I'm sorry for Tony. My good friend Tony Triozzi, who I worked with at WFL for many, many years, well over a decade, good friend of mine, good guy, and his daughter Charlie has turned 18 years old today, Saturday. His daughter Charlie, 18 years old. That's a milestone, and that's a great reason to celebrate, great cause for celebration. And I want to say happy birthday to you, Charlie. Happy birthday. And I hope that you have many, many, many more. And I hope your family's doing well. Tony, I hope you're doing well. This is you and your whole family. It's been a while since I've seen Tony for a while, but it's he's a talented drummer too. He has a few talents there in the musical arena, and that's talents that I don't know. Everybody has your different talents, right? I have different talents. I drink wine for one thing, but musical talents, I don't have them to the degree that he does. Although I in some cases I did. I can't say I envy. It's wrong to envy people really, but I admire his talent. I admire his talent in music. Anyway, that is, I think that's got the birthdays. And now I do want to go on a little bit more of a serious note, and I just want to make an acknowledgement to my friend Richard, to my friend Rick. He just went in today for treatment for leukemia, and it's a very personal thing, but he has let everybody know about it, and that's why I'm saying it, because I want him to be in our thoughts, and try to keep him in your thoughts, your prayers, and just wish him the best. That's really tough. This really hits close to home for me personally, because I've lost both my parents. I lost a younger brother, my younger brother Tony, to cancer. I've lost a few friends. I've lost friends to cancer. I lost my good friend Doug Torta, about a year or so ago, a little over a year ago, to cancer. I think he had pancreatic cancer, and it's really, really tough. And you know what? I think if you have the opportunity to contribute something to for the cause, for cancer, whether it's someplace like St. Jude's or any of the cancer places that are really trying to work to deal with this, to treat people who have cancer, and to try to cure this terrible thing, all forms of it. I just say, if you can, I encourage you, please do that. It every bit helps. Every bit helps. Anyway, here's to my friend Richard. I hope you're doing well, my friend, and hope everything goes well for you. Let's see. I think that does it for the birthdays, the celebrations, or whatever. I think it's time for the national days. And this is what we're celebrating this week for the national days. And this is courtesy of the nationaldaycalendar.com. My good friend Marlo Anderson, who is the CEO of nationaldaycalendar.com. Everywhere, you listen to the radio or you listen to news or whatever, people talk about, today's national whatever day, or national, tie your shoe day or whatever. I don't know if that's a national day or not really, but, national popsicle day, national ice cream day, whatever it is. He's the guy that runs the website that curates all of these national days that all these places pull from. So, he's put a lot of work into it. He does a fine job with his website, and that's what basically I use to pull from the national days as well. So that's from my good friend Marlo, nationaldaycalendar.com. Let me check the chat one more time before we go any further. Let's see, everyone's still... Courtney says, what about Molly, Rick? Is Molly's birthday coming up, Courtney? Is her birthday coming up? Let's see. When's Molly's birthday? Now, I'm pretty sure I'm friends with Molly there, but I haven't seen her birthday come up yet. So we'll see. We'll see how that works. Let's see that square. Let's see. Oh, I'm missing some of these. That square guy says, unfortunately, I can't chat much as I have some programming to do, but I've got you on in the background. Well, I appreciate that. That square guy. And Laudic says, I have the feeling you're very happy tonight, Rick. I am. The wine's helping. The cheese is helping. It's a good wine and cheese night, isn't it? But look, I'm happy because we have good people here tonight. We have good friends here tonight, and I'm here with you. I'm just having a great time being here with you tonight. So yes, I'm happy. I'm happy that I'm here with you and enjoying this nice fine wine, these fine cheeses, and we're just having a great conversation, and we're chatting. Darcy Stardust says hello, and Darcy Stardust, hello, right back to you. Hope you're doing well. And Laudic says, I wish it was my birthday. When is your birthday, Laudic? Tell me when your birthday is, and I'll make a note to when it comes up. I'll keep that in mind and make a note to. I'm serious. I'm not joking. I'm serious. I've got a pad right here. Let me know when your birthday is, and you don't have to give me any details. Just when your actual birthday is, and I'll make a note to be ready to toast you on your birthday. Jonathan says, yo, what's up, bro? And yo, what's up right back there, ex-Jonathan. Laudic says May 2nd. Okay, so we have a little ways to go, Laudic, on May 2nd, but I'll tell you what, I'll keep this posted in mind, and let me see. Okay, got it down, and I'll keep it handy, and hopefully I won't forget where I put that note, as my wife rolls her eyes, but she helps me out. Lady Conan is in the chat. Lady Conan says July 12th. July 12th for you. So your birthday was on July 12th, Lady Conan. July 12th. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. And let's see. Jonathan says May 7th for me. Okay. I'll keep that in mind too. I'll write yours down too. May 7th. And lady, see, I'm writing all these down, see, because next year I'll have a full slate of people to toast and celebrate. Anyway, I think that does it for the birthdays this week. Let's see. So let's Captain Swiss one says October 17th. Let me get that down here. Captain, I'm really writing this down, honestly. I really have the Captain Swiss one. You said October 17th. That's coming up. That's not too far away. So October 17th. I'll make a point of that. That'll be easier for me to remember because it's not that far from us, actually. We're talking about 2 months. Not even hardly. We're almost at the end of July. Can you believe this? It's almost the end of July, and we're still sitting, or at least I'm still sitting in my home. At least we're all here, right? Now, those of us who are still here are here, and let's hope that stays that way, that we're all here. And it's been a rough 2020 so far, hasn't it? 2020. It's been a pretty rough year so far. Hopefully it'll get better. I'm confident that it'll get better here at some point. So let's see. Let's see what else. Courtney says prayers for your friend Rick. Thank you, Courtney. I do really do appreciate that. Pete says, gotta say night. Amish get up early on Sunday for church. bedtime for us. Denise sends her love to you and the family. Well, I'll send it right back to you, Denise. And Aunt Connie, tell Aunt Connie we said hi. Aunt Connie's my great aunt, or my aunt, not my great aunt, my kid's great aunt, who just had another birthday and is 103, 104, right? 103. Pretty amazing. Anyway, thank you, Pete. Thanks for joining us. Maybe stick around later next time. But that's, let's see, I think that's caught up to the chat here. Luddick says, where do you like to spend your holidays, Rick? You know, I like, it's interesting because, I can go on a long thing about that. Let me get back to you on that one. Let's get to, or we'll never get through the national days. But I'll get back to you on that one, and I'll answer that question. Just remind me in case I forget. But I'll get back to that one. Let's see. Today, which was July 25th, it's still July 25th for another hour or so, a little less than an hour and 54 minutes. Today is National Merry-Go-Round Day. Anyone like the merry-go-round? Anyone like to do the merry-go-round? Merry-go-rounds. I'm okay. I'm okay on merry-go-round if I'm not on it that long, but I get dizzy real quick. My equilibrium gets off pretty easily, so I can't do merry-go-rounds that long. When I was a kid, I could handle it a little bit better than I can now. But my kids used to like to do the merry-go-rounds. Those are fun. National Merry-Go-Round Day. Here's something I can get into. National Hot Fudge Sundae Day. National Hot Fudge Sundae Day. I can do a hot fudge sundae. I can eat one of those. I'm not supposed to, but I could eat part of one if I share it with my wife. Here's the National Hot Fudge Sundae Day. Ed, you still there? As Ed knows, Ed and I used to make hot fudge sundaes by the hundreds. I was by the hundreds every day at Disney World. When we worked at Disney, there was a time when Ed and I worked at the board and cone shop in the restaurant there, the Village Veranda restaurant, and we used to make the hot fudge sundaes and a lot of the other sundaes and a lot of the other ice cream delicacies that we'd serve to the guests, and we'd scoop cones and things like that. And we used to make a lot of them. We used to make a lot of those things every day, and it was. We had a lot of fun. Ed and I had a lot of fun doing that sort of thing. Ed with the Veranda Pavilion. Thank you, Ed. A Veranda Restaurant, the Veranda Pavilion, that whole area. It consisted of three parts. There was the board and cone shop, and then there was the Veranda Restaurant, and then there was the Syrah Lee Bakery. And I think after you went on to work at the bookstore there, I wound up being a lead of the bakery and the cone shop, which was really interesting because I spent a lot of my time running back and forth between the two of them for a while, just running back and forth because they were on two separate ends of the restaurant. And it wasn't that far of a jog, but when you've got a busy restaurant going on, you're back in the kitchen, and it's a really busy kitchen and things going on. I can. There's a lot of. Got my exercise. It got my exercise going back and forth when I was a lead there, and but Ed and I had some great times there, and we had a lot of fun, and it was messy. It was very messy doing all of those. Ice cream cones and the sundaes and the Captain's Tower sundae and all that kind of thing. We could talk about that all night, but I'm not going to go there right now. Anyway, National what was it? Hot Fudge Sundae Day. I lost my place here with the national days. There we go. National Hot Fudge Sundae Day. National Threading the Needle Day. Whoa, National. Funny story about that. See, this is a stream of consciousness show, and this is what I do. I get off on these tangents when I go through these national days. My wife Chi was I think she was sewing masks or something a while back when we were making our own masks, and she was sewing some together. And she does a really good job with this sort of thing. Being a nurse, she has a lot of experience with that kind of the surgical mask and things like that. And she kind of made her own that was kind of equivalent to N95. And she made her own special masks that were really, really heavy duty, but they had a space in there where you can actually slip in some filters in there. So you could remove the filter, you could keep the mask, and the mask was washable, but she could remove the filter and dispose of the filter. Anyway, she was working on some of these masks, and she had a lot of trouble threading her sewing machine. And she said, she called me over. She says, "Get over here because you can do this." Because as nearsighted as I am, I'm so nearsighted, I can look up really, really close, and I can actually see close up where I can thread the needle in. I even had trouble with it this time. I don't know why. Normally I don't, but this time I even had trouble with it. She finally got it, but that's what happens when she calls me over to thread a needle. She calls me in to do that because I'm so nearsighted. I just take my glasses off and I can see real closely with that. And that actually helped me on, you remember a couple months back, and I showed you my film, Attack of the Bubble Creatures, where I did scratch off animation, scratching off the emulsion right off the film. And that helped me there too. I was able to see up close without a magnifying glass to be able to scratch off thousands and thousands of frames of film with these little bubble creature things. Anyway, if you have not seen that film or clips from it, you can go back in previous episodes of the Wine Stream, because I did show that in little chunks back in the previous Wine Streams. It's good. Trust me, if you watch any of this, you want to have a bottle of wine or your favorite beer or a few beers or vodka or something open, and you want to be partly through that before you start watching it. It makes more sense then. Trust me, it makes more sense after you have a few of those. Anyway, where were we? Oh yes, National Threading the Needle Day. Okay, done a lot of that. National Hire a Veteran Day. Yes, I think that there should be a day for National Hire a Veteran. You know, some of our vets are actually very, very, very capable people that I would put first in line for hiring for doing certain jobs, because, and you hear the stories about vets come back all messed up and shell-shocked and PTSD and all that, but you know what? A lot of these guys, they get some training in certain specific areas in the military that make them very knowledgeable about a lot of different things that can be very, very useful and helpful in a lot of different jobs. So you hire a vet, and the other thing about hiring a vet, and our company, I believe our company's hired a couple of them in the past, that they tend to be more reliable. They tend to be more, because they're trained to be disciplined, they tend to be more reliable about showing up for work. They tend to be more disciplined in doing their work, and they tend to be more efficient in doing their work in some things. And I'm not saying this to disparage other people who are working who have not served in the military. I'm just saying that their unique training has given them, especially these days, and I can tell you there are some kids these days that haven't learned a lot of those basic skills, and who really don't do their jobs well, because they have been I've been a customer for those kids, and I have also worked with a couple of them. So I can say that if you hire a vet for your business, and I think as a general rule, you'll be happy with their performance, their work performance on that, because they were trained to follow orders and to complete tasks and things like that. That's it's kind of in their training, and I found a lot of vets to be very, very capable people. So National Hire a Vet Day. I'll drink to that. Okay, and of course we come to National Wine and Cheese Day. Today is, of course, National Wine and Cheese Day. How full should I fill up this glass for that? I think we've really celebrated National Wine and Cheese Day, right? Here's to National Wine and Cheese Day. I'm all for that. Happy National Wine and Cheese Day. Yes, I will definitely drink to that. I've been enjoying that so far. I think maybe that's one reason why I have been happy. Now, tomorrow, there are a few national days coming tomorrow that I want to acknowledge. Tomorrow is National Aunt and Uncle's Day. So, Auntie Jo, I might want to remind everyone that it's National Aunt and Uncle's Day. And if you're an aunt or an uncle, I am an uncle. I'm not an aunt, but I am an aunt. I am an uncle, and I'm an uncle of mostly nieces. I have a couple of nephews. And you know what? As a matter of fact, one of my nephews celebrated a birthday recently, and I want to say, and I think I actually toasted his birthday last week, but I'll toast it again. Happy birthday to you, Jordan. Jordan Season. I am an uncle to a couple of nephews, but I am an uncle to many, many nieces, a lot of nieces, and I love my nephews and my nieces, and they're very special to me. National Aunt and Uncle's Day. There we go. National Bagel Fest Day. I love bagels. You like bagels? I love bagels. I used to be able to have bagels with cream cheese, but I'm kind of putting butter on them now because cream cheese for some reason doesn't sit with me as well. But National Bagel Fest Day. Bagel Fest. There you go. Gee, we need to go get some bagels. We don't have any left downstairs. National Coffee Milkshake Day. National Coffee Milkshake Day is tomorrow also. Will be today in about 42 minutes. And coffee milkshake, couldn't get into coffee milkshakes. I prefer my coffee hot. I love coffee, but I prefer it hot over cold or iced coffee or coffee milkshakes. National Disability Independence Day. Here is, and I will readily drink to that, National Disability Independence Day. I've a good friend of mine who was disabled that I knew when I was very young, not very, very young, but when I was a young man. He always impressed me because he was disabled, but he always impressed me just how independent he was and is. Hopefully he's still around. But Bobby, if you're still around, I want to say here's to you as well, Bobby. But National Disability Independence Day, I'll drink to that. Here's to National All or Nothing Day. It's National All or Nothing Day, and what that means is that it's all or nothing. I looked it up earlier. It's like you give it, you just go for it. You go for it. It's all or nothing. You just you don't hold back. You either do it or you don't do it. You know, as I don't want to do my Yoda impression. Come on, as Yoda said to Luke, "Do or do not. There is no try." Right. So it's National All or Nothing Day. There you go. And George Lucas, if you're watching, please don't sue me for that. It's a parody, okay? I'm allowed that. All right, so I think I just got it from the national days. Let's go back to the chat for just a moment. And Ed says, Benny's in the chat. Benny says, hello, Rick, and this is my sister-in-law, Benny. Speaking of sister-in-laws, my sister-in-law, Benny, who's a very, very sweet lady, who I love. And Benny says, hello, Rick, and hello right back, Benny. How are you doing? I hope you're doing fine. Ed says, some people call this Christmas in July today. Yeah, I guess they do. Some people do call this Christmas in July, don't they? Yeah. You know, it's amazing how the year has gone by so quickly, so fast, and I forgot that this is almost the end of July. It's just amazing, and the weeks go by very, very quickly, at least to me, at least in my case. Let's see, and Arvin Firepaul, he's in the chat. Good to see you, Arvin Firepaul. He says, have you had the turkey lugs? They're really that huge. I love Disney, and Darcy Stardust says, I love Disney food. Polo TV says, I misunderstood. Where did you work? Oh, Polo TV, he says, we're in Disneyland. We're in Disneyland. No, this was at Walt Disney World. Walt Disney World in Florida. I'm from Florida. I'm originally from Florida. I'm one of the few people who can call themselves Florida natives. I mean, a good deal of people, a number of people are Florida transplants, but but I was born in Gainesville, Florida. We moved up to North Carolina, lived there for about 10 years, and then we moved back to Florida and made Orlando our home, the Orlando area, basically Winter Park to be exact. And I lived in Orlando for a total of 35 years, and then I met my wife while I was living in Orlando. She was living in Jacksonville, and we dated for a while, and then when we got married, we moved to. We were living in Winter Springs for a while, Castleberry, and in that area, and then we moved to Oviedo when the kids came along. And then the house got too small. And then about 12 years ago, well, no, maybe it's 13 years ago now, isn't it? Back in 2007, that's 13 years. As a matter of fact, I guess this is, you know what, Chi, this is kind of an anniversary sorts for us, as a matter of fact. Oh, okay, we've got another anniversary here. I did not know that, Chi. If you're watching right now, let me put on the fireworks once again. Here's to our anniversary of 13 years. 13 years in Charlotte, in the Charlotte area, North Carolina. 13 years. Happy anniversary. I gotta toast that. I'll be honest. I'll be honest as far as that's concerned, and it's nothing to really disparage the fine people of Charlotte, but my home was always in Florida, and I do miss Florida a lot. There are a lot of things here that I do like about being in Charlotte, and one of those things is my job. I kind of like where we are, our particular location. In Charlotte, in the South Charlotte, it's okay where we are. I'm not crazy about Uptown myself. But in our area, it's okay. But I do love my job, and I always kind of considered it my dream job in the sense that everything that I've done, all my life experiences at this point, have kind of culminated into the skills that I have to perform my job now, what I do, and so I love that job. So there are a few things, and we have some great neighbors. We have some great neighbors here, on our street. We have some great friends here in the area. But overall, my heart kind of still is in Florida, in the Orlando area, because that's where I spent most of my life, and that's kind of where I still miss. There's still some things about Florida that I miss. So I don't really consider Charlotte my home per se. And once again, this isn't to disparage Charlotte. That's just kind of a personal thing where I still feel like I feel like whenever we go back to Orlando, we go back to visit, or when we visit our friends and we visit our family. We have family there, we have friends there, a lot of old places there that we remember fondly. It's I still consider it. I would go back there and I think, well, we're home, pretty much. That's kind of how I look at it, but that's just where I am, and I don't mean to get all melancholy and everything like that on you, but just that's kind of how I feel about Orlando, O-Town as we call it, O-Town. I've got a lot of history there. I've got a lot of friends there. It's just it's always going to be there. It's always going to be in me, and it's always going to be in my blood, so to speak. That love for that area. Anyway, here's to O-Town. Here's to Orlando. And so yes, I worked at Walt Disney World for 9 years, and then worked for WOFL because that's what I wanted to do. Is I wanted to do television and movies, Hollywood East, and all that stuff. Worked for WOFL for 12 years, and then worked for WRBW Channel 65 for a couple of years, and that's started when they were just before they moved to the Universal back lot, Universal Studios. So I got to hang out in the Universal back lot when we moved there. Got to hang out there a lot and get involved, watch a lot of things that went on there. And yeah, I had a whole history of that before I got into doing computers and doing IT work in the local area. Anyway, Polo TV says, I misunderstood. Where did you work? And I read that. Threading needles can be tricky. That's Darcy Stardust saying threading needles can be tricky. Yes, they can. Even for me. Polo TV says, I meant one position at Disney. I did a number of things. I did a lot of things. I worked a lot in the food service. I did some outdoor events. I did some banquet stuff. I did a little bit with Ed. Ed was mostly merchandising, I think, after he left the food area. But I did a little bit of the merchandising stuff. I wore quite a few hats there because I kind of worked where they needed me after a while. I ran a pizza delivery service there for a while. As a matter of fact, it was that's an interesting story. It was a one-man pizza delivery service when I would deliver pizzas to really a one-man operation. I would make the cheese mixes. I would make the pizzas. I would take the calls for the orders, and then I'd make these pizzas, and then I'd go deliver them in the company van. And did all that. Made some really good money doing it. There was really good money because a lot of the guests tipped very well. But I did that for a while, but it was not really what I wanted to do with my life. So I did it for a while, and it was a lot of fun, and I made some money doing it. That's true. I made more money doing it than I would have if I just kind of stuck flipping burgers or or cones or inventorying products or something like that. But I did that for a little while, and that was a lot of. I think that was kind of I want to say kind of the most fun I had at Disney. It was actually a pretty fun time, even though it was very stressful and it was very because I had to do everything. And but it was the most. It was actually the most freedom I had doing something at Disney. Where they pretty much took a hands-off approach. I mean, I did everything. I took care of the money, the cash. I did everything on that operation because it was literally a one-man operation, and so I was pretty much running the show there. And they gave me a lot of latitude. Amazingly enough, they took a very hands-off approach to the whole thing. I did have supervisors and managers, but they basically just let me do what I needed to do, just whatever I want to do. And I only called upon them when there was something that I really had to do that they had to sign off on. But or if I got so much into the weeds because it was such a busy night that they'd send somebody over, that the manager, the supervisor would come in and help me out a little bit. But they pretty much left me to my own devices, my own discretion, and as long as I was making money, because I was making them some money, as long as I was making money doing it, they just left me alone and let me do it, which was really probably the best job I ever had at Disney, being able to just be left alone and manage it myself, and it was thriving. So that was a lot of fun. I did enjoy that aspect of it. Anyway, so V Colorblind is in the chat. V Colorblind, it's good to see you. Glad to see you in the chat. It's been a little while. How you doing? V Colorblind says, yo, Rick, just breezing through. Well, I'm glad you're here. Stick around a little bit. Loudick says, what a career. Yeah, I've done a few things. I've done a few things in my life so far. Let's see. Let me catch up on over here. Benny says, I just shared you to family group. Well, thank you, Benny. I really appreciate that. Benny says, I think you should come back to Orlando. Tia's talent is for the Disney. My daughter is very talented with art and everything like that. I don't know. Tia may be ready for Disney. I don't know if Disney's ready for Tia. I'll say that. But yeah, I do miss. There's some aspects of Orlando that I do miss. Anyway, where are we going with this? It's 11:30. It's time to wrap this up. Isn't it? My, how time flies when we're having fun, and I didn't even get to some of the other things I had on the list. Right? There are a couple of things that I want to mention just briefly. I want to bring, and this is because the time is coming very close for this, for the end of it, and I'm talking about the podcast awards, the People's Choice Podcast Awards. As many of you know, I am a longtime podcaster, what a lot of people would term an OG or an old guard podcaster. I've been doing it for 14 years. My son is a second-generation podcaster, and he could almost be considered for the old guard. He's been doing it for 10 years, and he started when he was 10 years old, his first podcast, and he pretty much grew up with that. And he does a podcast currently with his friend Nick called Cube Command. Cube Command is the current podcast, and it is up for nomination for this year's Podcast Awards. Now, if you're not familiar with the Podcast Awards, the People's Choice Podcast Awards is the 15th. This is the 15th annual one. It is the oldest, and no matter what iHeartRadio tells you or anyone else. In fact, they got slapped silly for a couple of years ago for claiming that their whole big, Emmy-looking podcast awards that they had on live TV and whatever was the first ever, and it was not. The first ever podcast awards was done by Todd Cochran and his crew over at Raw Voice and Podcast Connect, or Raw Voice, I should say, and the 15th annual Podcast Awards is happening here very shortly. It's the nominations are open for the podcasts. My podcast is not in the nomination list this year. But my son's is, and it would be a great honor, and it would be most appreciated if you could check out my son's podcast, Cube Command, and nominate it for a People's Choice Podcast Award. Now, my son, he and his friend Nick, they do the Cube Command podcast, and this is basically, it's gaming, but and for those of you on Twitch, you would appreciate this podcast. Those of you who are on Twitch a lot and are Twitch gamers or interested in gaming on Twitch, this is a podcast geared towards it's geared towards gaming, but it's also geared towards pop culture in general, movies and pop culture and that sort of thing. And he and his friend Nick do a fine job with it. He's been doing this for a couple of years now for this particular podcast. And I'm trying to find the, here we are, here it is. But he's part of the Savoyan Media Network. We're all, Drink with Rick and Cube Command Podcast is all part of the Savoyan Media Network. He's one of the shows here that is part of the Savoyan Media Network. But his show, Cube Command, is that's it right there. He once again, it's up for nomination, and it would be most appreciated if you can check it out. You can go to the website and check out if you really want. And actually, I would recommend that you give a listen to his show, and don't just nominate it on my request. I mean, give a listen to the show, and if you like it, give it a fair review. If you like it, this is his website, cubecommand.com. That's cubecommand.com. And if you like the show, if you find it in your heart to go to to podcastawards.com. That's podcastawards.com, and nominate his show. It's on the list for nominations to nominate him for the 15th annual People's Choice Podcast Awards. This is in the hobbies and games, or games and hobbies category. So if you look in the games and hobbies category, you'll see them listed. It doesn't cost anything to do this. This is free. All they do is they do ask for your email and your name. That's pretty much all they ask for. They just want to verify that it's a real person doing it. They don't keep any of this stuff on file, so it's pretty safe. It's a pretty safe website. I know Todd. He's a friend of mine. He's been doing this for a long time, and he's very, very, he's the real deal. He's on the level. So they're not going to do anything nefarious with your email address or anything like that. They're not. But if you go in there and just put in your name, your email address, and then nominate the shows, you can nominate Cube Command for the People's Choice Podcast Awards in the Games and Hobbies category. It would be much, much appreciated. Thank you. The nominations close on July 31st. So we have that, and that's why I'm really making a big push for it now, because it's the 25th of July for another 24 minutes, and it's July 31st. It's the next wine stream is going to be passed by then. So that's why I'm kind of making a push for that to really promote it. And yeah, I know I'm the dad. I'm doing it because I'm his dad, and I really wanted to see a show get nominated. It would be really, really cool. But don't do it on my account. Do it because check a show out and do it because you feel his show is worthy of it. I think that's the main thing. If you don't think his show is worthy of it, don't nominate him. But if you think it's worth the nomination, give it a listen. And if you think it's worth it, please do him the favor and nominate him. The nomination, I think that nominations close to July 31st, and then what happens is that they have a panel of judges that judge it during the course of the next 30 days after that. And then the winners will be announced during International Podcast Day, which is September 30th. That's a 24-hour period. International Podcast Day, September 30th. And we're going to be doing something special for International Podcast Day anyway here on the Wine Stream. I'm just not sure what we're doing yet. Still working the details out. One other thing, just to let you know, we have two, count them, two hurricanes. One that is hitting Texas, the other one that's bearing down on the Hawaiian Islands. And as I mentioned before, get an emergency weather radio. I'm really, really big on this, as you know. I'm really big on emergency weather radios. I've got one right here, as a matter of fact. I keep right here next to my desk, and I keep it here next to my desk for weather alerts and for things, because it's also a GMRS radio too. So it's a combination. This one's a combination. And I am a licensed GMRS user, just for those who are checking. I'm also a licensed ham, as is my son. But I do keep one here on my desk, and we do have weather radios around the house. We have one downstairs. It goes off. It went off, as a matter of fact, it went off yesterday for a severe weather event that was happening in the area. And we've had some pretty bad storms here lately. So it's been going off pretty regularly for weather events. But if you don't have one, go to ready.gov, that's ready.gov, and get an emergency preparedness kit together. They have a whole list at ready.gov of what to get. And radios are, I think, number 3 and number 5 on the list. Weather radio is number 3, and I think a two-way radio, one like these or something like that, is I think number 5 or number 6 on the list. You need to get that. The power goes off, and if you lose your cell, if it's really severe, your cell phone might not work anymore. So that's all we got left. So you want to go that. Anyway, if you do decide to get one, and I'm saying you can get one anywhere you want, but if you do decide to get one, you can get one at buytwowayradios.com. Buy Two Way Radios has some pretty low prices on weather radios and GMRS radios and FRS radios and ham radios and marine radios and all kinds of radios. But if you do, you can pick one up there. And if you do pick one up there, you can use the promo code WINESHOW. That's WINESHOW. WINESHOW. And you will get 5% off your order. Now, for full disclosure, as I mentioned before, I work for By Two-Way Radios, okay? That's my day job. But I'm not making any extra money for this. They're not paying me. They pay me to do my job, but this isn't part of my job. This is just something I'm doing for fun, and they're not paying me for this. So I'm not making any extra money. I'm not going to get any extra money telling you to go get a radio, okay? What I am doing is I'm doing this as more of a public service because of the fact that I'm really into weather radios and radios in general, and I am a big believer in having emergency kits ready for an emergency. So my boss has said, hey, look, give them a 5% discount. So if you go to and buy any radio accessory there by twowayradios.com, use the code WINESHOW, WINESHOW, at checkout, you can save an additional 5% off your order. Okay, and that's all savings for you. We don't get anything extra off of that. Okay, it's all savings for you. But I'm doing this as a courtesy because I care about you and I want you to be able to be prepared in case of an emergency. Anyway, that kind of does it for me. So it's getting late. It's getting towards time to close up. I do want to read a couple of comments and emails that I got before I left. That was another thing I want to close with. A couple of comments and emails. I got a comment on the YouTube channel, our YouTube channel at By Two-Way Radios. Excuse me. I'm still in that mood. Drink with Rick. Oh, boy. Yeah, maybe I've had too much of this now. At Drink with Rick, the YouTube channel, where you can go back, can watch all these episodes of Drink with Rick at your leisure. The comments that I've gotten before recently here, I got one that I kept meaning to talk about, but I kept forgetting about it, and I can't remember which episode now it was they were commenting on it. But Stevens sent me a nice comment. It was just very, very two simple words. He just said loved it. He just said loved it. He really enjoyed the episode, and I want to say, Stevens, thank you. I really do appreciate it. And here's to you, by the way, Stevens, for that really nice comment. I also received another nice email from Victor, and Victor, I hope it's okay for me to read this here. He says, Victor says, hello, new fan from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'd like to send out a bottle or two from here in New Mexico, Santa Fe in particular. I have stayed overnight in Santa Fe. It was a nice town. I really enjoyed the night I spent there. Been through Santa Fe before. Very interesting town. He says, love the show. Can't wait to actually catch a live one this Saturday. Cheers. And I want to thank you, Victor. Cheers to you. Here's to Victor. And I will send you as a matter of fact, I'm sending you, Victor, not just for your comment, I'm sending you a couple of our Drink with Rick coasters, my Drink with Rick coasters, as you can see here. I don't know if you can get a good close-up of it here. My Drink with Rick coasters. These are, you can throw them away if you want, but you don't. But I would suggest don't do that. These last a long time. I've been using this one since episode whenever I got the first batch of these things, and I'm still using it. I still use it. See how to put the glass back on it. I still use it now here on the glass. They're great coasters. I'll send you a pair of those, and I'll send you also one of our pins as well. I have a pin here that I send you, Drink with Rick pin, a couple things. Anyway, thanks for your email. And look, you send me an email. Tell me tell me what you think. I appreciate your feedback, and if you send me an email, you can send it to rick@savoyamedia.com. That's rick@savoyamedia.com. And I'll respond in kind, but send me your feedback, good or bad, indifferent, whatever. Your wine recommendations. Look, if you're a winery, if you're someone who wants to send me a bottle of wine to give it a review, I will give it a fair review. Okay, just because it's free doesn't mean it's a free pass on the wine. I will give it I will give it a fair review. Okay, and this is live, folks. I'll give it a fair review and tell you what I think, whether I personally like it or don't, or whatever in between. And just send it over to me, and email me at rick@savoymedia.com, and I'll send you an address where you can send the wine to, and I'll be happy to do that. Also, we're looking for sponsors. Look, I do this. I pay for this show. This show, I'm not really making any money on this show. I'll be honest with you. I'm not making. I know people say I'll be honest with you, and they're not necessarily being honest, but that's true. I don't make any money off this show right now. Okay, it's a dream. Oh boy, would I love to be making. Now that's a dream job, isn't it? Isn't it a dream job where you get paid for drinking on a live stream? That's a dream job in itself. I don't know that that's ever going to be realized, but I'm doing this for fun, folks. Basically, but you know what? Sponsors, yeah, because I'll accept a sponsor too. Because if I'm paying for, and I'm paying for all this, it's coming out of pocket because it's a hobby. It's just something I'm doing for fun. But I don't know how long I can be doing this, especially when we're all sequestered in here in our homes and that sort of thing. And everybody's budget's tight. My budget's tight too, and we're having to make sure that we're having to make do and make sure that we can get through this whole COVID thing, right? But so yeah, I mean, I'll keep doing this as long as I can keep doing it. But at some point in time, there might come a time when I say, I can't afford to do it anymore. And like I said, a sponsor would help. Sponsor would help. I don't really want to do the Patreon thing right now, but a sponsor would be great. But I'm not begging for sponsors. Okay, it's not like I'm begging you to be a sponsor of the show. So if you want to, great. But I'm just saying that if you watch the show, don't be upset if I do take on a sponsor, because I'm not doing it to get rich. I'm doing it just to help the show, to keep the show going. That's all. Okay. Anyway, you sent all that to rick@savoymedia.com. I didn't mean to go long on that, and this was not intending to be a sales pitch of any sort. It's just my stream of consciousness flowing. That's all it is. Anyway, so I think it's about time for us to close up now. Did I leave anything out? Did I leave anybody else out? I do need to do a summary of the wine, didn't I? I do need to do a summary of the wine. Here's my closing summary of the wine. And before I check, let me check the chat again. That Square Guy says we just have to get you we just have to get you to get made an affiliate on Twitch. Yes, we do. And that's a lot of work too. I don't know that would get to that point, but that would be great. That would be great. I appreciate that. That Square Guy says we just have to get you made an affiliate. Oops, I'm good at English. Sometimes you're better in English than I am after I've had a few of these, or a bottle of this. A few of these, yeah. One of these. That Square Guy says, I don't think, let's see. That Square Guy says, we'll get you there. Well, I appreciate that. I really, really do appreciate that. Let me check the chat once again on Facebook one more time. Benny says, miss you guys. Night too. And night, Benny. Thank you for joining me on the wine stream. And I hope everyone is doing very well. Benny, I hope everyone is. And maybe one of these days we'll be able to get back down and see you once this whole pandemic thing is over with, and we can all go back and forth and visit again. Yeah, that sort of thing. Anyway, so here's my final review on the wine. Once again, we were drinking tonight. We were drinking the Boulee-Cordot. This is an Alicante-Syrah blend. It is 70% Alicante, 30% Syrah. I thought it was 10% Syrah at first when I saw it, and I'm like, oh, wow, it's 30%. That's a lot. But nothing wrong with a good Syrah, but, the blends can be a little, blends can be tricky sometimes on some of these wines. So you got to be careful how you blend these things. But this one seems to be a pretty decent blend. It is 12.5% alcohol by volume, and I will tell you there is one more thing I have to do, and I have to test it with this dessert, right? We did a wine cheese, because this was wine and cheese day, so we tasted this wine with the wine and cheese, and this is what This is what my final result was here. Now, I'll tell you, this is a very fruity wine. It's a very fruity wine. I think it's a little on the young side, to be honest. That's just my personal taste. It's a little on the young side, 2019. I would say if you keep it bottled for about another 4 or 5 months, it'd probably be perfect to drink. But I think it's just a little, but it's not a bad thing because I think it's pretty drinkable now. It's very drinkable now. It's got some black cherry in it. I tasted some black cherry. I tasted a little bit of blackberry in it. A little bit of black pepper. But very fruity. It's very tannic. If you don't like a lot of tannins in your wine, then this might not be the wine for you. But for those who do like bold tannic wines, I think this is a good choice. The acidity is medium. If you're sensitive to that, to the acidity of the wine, it's a medium acidity, so it's not bad. 12.5% alcohol. I can't tell just right from drinking it, but it says that. As far as the cheeses are concerned, I tell you what, I really liked it. I'll tell you what the cheese. We tried it with 5 cheeses. We tried it with triple cream brie cheese. I really liked that. The brie in this wine was like almost a perfect match. It was a great match. I really enjoyed that. And that triple cream brie cheese came from Trader Joe's, I believe. The Gruyere, which also was from Trader Joe's, that was also quite good. I enjoyed that. And of course the double cream Gouda, my creamy Gouda cheese. That was a pure winner all the way. I really enjoyed that with this wine. The smoked cheddar, which also was from Trader Joe's, that was surprisingly good. I think it was a surprisingly good match. I wasn't sure what to make of that, but it was a surprisingly good match with this wine, so that's good. The mozzarella, I'd give it it wasn't bad, but I'll give it a pass. It was not my favorite. It was not my favorite. That was a very soft mozzarella. No, it was a little bit thicker mozzarella, or a little bit firmer mozzarella, maybe. I don't know. I don't think it's the best fit for the mozzarella cheese. That's just my take, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But I really enjoyed it with the cheese. I think overall it was. But now there is one thing that I did forget, almost forgot. Okay, 2 things, because I think somebody asked me about something here. What was it? Somebody in Twitch asked me for something. What was it? Let me go back and look. I think it was, where do you like to spend your holidays? I remember that, okay? Where I like to spend my holidays are, it kind of depends. It kind of depends on the mood I am, but I'm in. But I do like to spend some of my holidays in the O-Town area, sometimes on the beach. St. Pete Beach I like. I kind of miss St. Pete Beach. It's been a while since I've been there. My holidays, mountains. I like going to the mountains on holidays. I like to spend some time in the mountains. We spend some time in the Boone area. We like to go up to Boone a lot. My wife and my kids and I do. It's a very nice area. And I think we're going to be spending more time up there now that Tommy's going to be going to Appalachian State, which is in the Boone area, Blowing Rock and that sort of thing. I enjoy that area quite a bit. I also like going to, I like seeing some new places that I haven't been to before, but I want to see the country. I want to see the rest of the country. And I have spent some time across the West, in the Midwest. I spent a night in Santa Fe, rather enjoyed that. There's a story about that, but you know what? I'm going to have to write that down because that's a story I'm going to have to share for another time. A night in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I'll tell you what, that was some interesting. That was an interesting experience, but I really enjoyed the night that we spent there. Very artsy town, at least the parts we went through in Santa Fe. Very, very artsy town, but I rather enjoyed it. So anyway, that is kind of like what I want to do with my vacations. I would like to take a cruise one of these days. Maybe a cruise. Maybe go to do an Alaska cruise. That could be fun. Anyway, This is the one thing we haven't tried yet, and this is a raspberry. It's some kind of raspberry dessert my wife picked up. I think she picked it up from Trader Joe's. We were going to taste it with the wine to see how the wine worked, and I tell you what, this wine I think was supposed to be chilled, lightly chilled according to the bottle, but it is no longer. It wasn't lightly chilled to begin with, but it's room temperature now. We're going to try it with this and a closing and see how this works. This is a raspberry. What is this? I forgot if she's still in the chat. She hasn't fallen asleep on me. It's some kind of a raspberry. Oh, it's a tort. It's a raspberry tort. This is quite good. Raspberry, and it has blueberries on it. It has blueberries on it and strawberry. It's very good. Whoa! Sugar rush. Talk about sugar. Well, okay, I'm gonna put that aside. That was rich on its own. that tort. Whatever it was raspberry. But boy, adding the wine to it. Whoa, that was good. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that works. That works. But I would say if you do this sort of thing, don't do it too much because you're going to wake up with quite the headache because that's very rich. A lot of sugar there. Very rich. Anyway, so I think that does it for tonight for our wine stream. I want to thank everyone for joining me tonight. I want to thank, let's see if I can go up the list here. But, and some of them I might have to go through from memory. Courtney, I want to thank Courtney for being in the chat with us tonight. Courtney, thanks for being here, as always. And Ed, my good friend Ed, my dear good friend Ed, I'm glad you're here with us tonight. Pete, my cousin Pete, was in the chat tonight. And I want to say thanks for being here. And I wish you and Denise and Aunt Connie the best. My lovely wife, Chi, of course, as always. She has been the backbone of everything that I do. She's been so supportive of everything. She's been supportive of this wine stream. She's been supportive of everything that I've done in our throughout our marriage and all the crazy projects and all the crazy things that endeavors that I've done and businesses and that sort of thing. And she's always been by my side. And I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for her. She is my life. So that's my lovely wife, Chi. And Joanne, my wonderful sister-in-law, Joanne. And I want to thank you for being here in the chat with us tonight. And happy birthday, by the way, again. And who else? Joanne, Margaret. Margaret joined. Did I miss Margaret in the chat, Margaret? Happy birthday again, by the way. And thanks for joining us in the chat. Somehow I missed that. I don't know how I missed that. Let's see, anyone else that I missed there on and Benny, my sister-in-law Benny, and also in Twitch. Also, I want to say Polo TV. Thanks for joining me, Captain Swiss T, Laudic, and let's see who else joined me here. That Square guy. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to have you here in the chat, and Lady Conan. Thank you for being here. And Arvin Firepall, thank you for being here. Darcy Stardust, and everyone else who joined me. Add me friend one also. Thanks for being here. I do appreciate you. And everyone else who joined me everywhere else who has been following me along, and on YouTube also. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. This show isn't about, once again, the show isn't about me. It's about the wine somewhat, but what the show is about you and me. You and me together interacting and having a good evening, good Saturday night, having a good time. And if it's helped make your day any better, or your weekend any better, your coming week any better, that's I think that we've accomplished something together, haven't we? Anyway, I want to say thank you for being here with me tonight. I want to please ask you, please do not drink and drive. Drink in the comfort of your home, your apartment, your hotel room, wherever you are. Just be right there. If you have to go somewhere, call an Uber, call a Lyft, call a taxi, something, call a friend, whatever, family member, bring you home. Do not drink and drive. Please, I implore you, do not do that. Do not text and drive, okay, because that's a personal pet peeve with me. Because I want you to have a great week, and I want you to have, especially I want you to have a safe week. So you can join me next week, and we can all get together and drink with Rick. Good night.